Smoke filled the air. The smell of burning wood, sweat, and fear mixed together. A crowd of aliens gathered in a wide, dusty circle. They were cheering, laughing, and throwing food toward the fire. But this was no normal celebration. Above the fire, tied to a wooden pole, was a young alien girl. Her silver skin was covered in bruises. Her eyes were wide with terror. Flames danced just below her bare feet. Her thin arms were tied above her head. She struggled, but the ropes cut into her wrists. Her name was Nara. She had done nothing wrong, only stolen a small fruit. Not for herself, but for her little brother, who hadn't eaten in 2 days. But in this cruel part of the galaxy, stealing, even to survive, was punished with pain. Or worse. And today, the crowd had chosen the worst. A tall alien with red horns raised a sharp stick. "Let the meat roast," he shouted. The crowd cheered. They began chanting, "Burn! Burn! Burn!" Nara cried out, "Please. I'm just a girl." But no one cared. No one stopped. Her voice was lost in the noise. Seconds passed. The fire grew hotter. Sparks flew toward her legs. Her skin began to burn. Tears streamed down her face. And then everything changed. From the shadows of the market, someone stepped forward. One figure, not an alien. A man, a human. He wore a dusty brown jacket, military pants, and old combat boots. His face was rough, his hair short, and his eyes cold like ice. But his jaw was tight with anger. His fists were clenched. The crowd noticed him. Some laughed. Others backed away. "What's this?" the horned alien asked. "A human? Lost, are you?" The man didn't answer. He looked at the fire. Then at Nara. Their eyes met. She whispered, "Help me," so softly that only he could hear it. He moved forward, slowly, step by step. Like a soldier walking into war, a green-skinned alien blocked his way. "Go back, human. This is not your business." The man said nothing. He punched the alien straight in the face. The green alien dropped like a rock. The crowd gasped. Silence fell over them. No one expected that. The human kept walking straight toward the fire. "You dare interrupt justice?" the red-horned leader shouted. "This isn't justice," the man finally spoke. His voice was low, steady. "This is murder." He reached the pole. The flames licked at his boots. He didn't care. He pulled out a small plasma knife from his belt. With one swift motion, he cut the ropes holding Nara. Her body dropped into his arms. She was shaking, crying, her legs already blistered from the heat. But she was alive. The crowd roared in anger. "Stop him!" someone yelled. "Kill the human." The man turned, holding Nara close to his chest. "Touch me, and you burn next." No one moved. The red-horned alien stepped forward. "You'll regret this, human." The man's eyes narrowed. "Maybe, but you'll regret underestimating me." With Nara in his arms, he began to run, through the market, through the crowd, past shops and crates and stunned faces. Behind him, footsteps thundered. The aliens were chasing them. Nara opened her eyes. "Why? Why are you helping me?" He didn't look down. "Because no one else did." She tried to speak again, but passed out. Her body was weak. Too much pain. Too much fear. The man ducked into a dark alley. He kicked open a locked door and slipped inside an old, ruined building. Dust and metal greeted him. Safe for now. He placed Nara gently on the floor and checked her legs. Burned, but not too deep. She would survive. If she got help, he looked around. The building was empty, but not useless. It was an old warship, crashed long ago. Maybe it still had supplies. He heard a growl. Something else was in the ship. He stood, raising his plasma knife again. The chase was not over. The danger had just begun. And he was the only thing standing between this girl and the cruel world that wanted her dead. Asterisk. The taste of smoke still clung to his tongue. Jack sat with his back against a cold metal wall, his chest rising fast. His knuckles were bruised, and blood from someone else stained his jacket. The alien. Girl Nara lay in his lap, her silver skin pale. Her eyes shut tight, she was breathing. That was enough for now. Outside, angry voices echoed through the dusty alleys of the market. The crowd was hunting them, searching. They wanted their barbecue back. But Jack didn't care. He tightened the grip on his plasma knife and stared into the shadows of the old ship. The silence inside wasn't peaceful. It was the kind that made your neck itch. Something else was here. Then a sound scrape. Something moved in the dark. Something heavy. Something breathing. Jack slowly placed Nara on the floor and stood. His knife hummed softly in his hand. The sound came again, closer this time. Suddenly, two glowing eyes blinked open in the darkness. Jack raised his weapon. But before he could swing, a low growl shook the walls. A beast stepped out. It was massive, four-legged. Its body was covered in scarred black armor. Long tusks curved from its jaw, and its breath steamed in the cold air of the ship. Jack didn't flinch. The beast growled again, its eyes locking onto him, and then shifted toward the girl on the floor, and it stopped. The beast sniffed. Its growl faded, then it whimpered. To Jack's shock, it crawled slowly toward the girl and lay down beside her, protectively curling its body around her small frame. What the hell? Jack whispered. Nara stirred, her lips moved. Zura? The beast's ears twitched. Jack knelt beside her. You know this thing? She opened her eyes. He was my pet when I was small. He protected our village. Jack looked at the beast. Well, he's not small anymore. Nara smiled weakly. It was the first time Jack had seen something soft in her face. Then boom. The door Jack had kicked open earlier was blasted off its hinges. The alien mob had found them, inside. Someone shouted, "They're in the old wreck." Jack stood fast. Stay down, he said. Nara tried to sit up. They'll kill us. Jack's voice was calm but sharp. Only if they get past me. Zura, the beast, growled deep. It stepped in front of Jack and Nara, guarding them both. But Jack wasn't done. He spotted something half buried in the ship's wall, an old shock rifle. He yanked it free, blew off the dust, and smiled. Let's give them a surprise. The first alien stepped into the doorway. Give us the girl. Crack! A pulse of blue light exploded from the rifle. The alien flew backward, hitting two more behind him. Jack didn't stop firing. Zura roared and charged. The hallway shook with its weight. The alien screamed and fell back, but not before Jack dropped another one with a clean shot to the chest. Fall back, fall back. Someone screamed. In seconds, the hallway was empty again. Jack lowered the rifle. Smoke rose from the barrel. Nara looked at him with wide eyes. You saved me again, she said. Jack reloaded. Get used to it, he turned to her. Can you walk? She nodded slowly. I'll try. Jack helped her up. Zura stayed close like a shadow. We can't stay here, Jack said. They'll come back with more. Nara leaned on him. I know a way out under the ship. My people used secret tunnels to escape long ago. Jack looked at her. Your people? She nodded, pain in her voice. They're all gone. I'm the last one. Jack paused. Not anymore. Together, they moved deeper into the ship, the beast following silently behind. Outside, the angry crowd regrouped, and a new order was shouted. If the human won't give her up, we burn them both alive. The tunnel was cold, dark, and full of echoes. Jack held a small light in one hand, Nara's trembling fingers in the other. Behind them, the massive beast Zura crawled slowly, its claws scratching against the metal floor. The sounds made it feel like something was chasing them, even if nothing was yet. But Jack didn't trust silence. Silence could lie. Nara's voice broke the stillness. "This ship that used to fly, a long time ago." Jack looked around. Old control panels lined the walls. Wires hung like vines. Everything smelled of rust and dust. He asked, "Your people built this?" She nodded. "Before the war, before." They were taken. Jack didn't ask more. He could see the pain in her face. She had already lost too much. Suddenly, the tunnel opened into a wider room. Their footsteps echoed loudly. Jack raised his light. Rows of strange machines stood still. Some half-broken, others humming softly like they were asleep but not dead. On the far side, a metal door sat crooked in its frame. Carved into the door were strange glowing symbols. Nara stepped forward, her hand brushing the symbols gently. "They only respond to my blood," she whispered. Jack frowned. "What do you mean?" "My bloodline," she said. "I'm not just anyone. I'm the daughter of the last city keeper." Before Jack could reply, a deep click sounded from the door. Then it opened slowly, like something ancient had just woken up. Behind the door was something neither of them expected. A huge, open space, lit by pale blue lights. An underground city. Buildings carved into stone. Walkways built from crystal. Waterfalls that glowed like starlight. It was beautiful. And dead quiet. Jack whispered, "What is this place?" Nara stepped in slowly. "Home," she said. "At least, it was." Zura walked past them and let out a deep sigh. It lay down near the center of the empty plaza, like it remembered this place too. Jack walked forward, turning slowly, taking it all in. "Why is no one here?" he asked. "Long ago, raiders came. They took everyone. Burned the upper world," she said. "I was just a baby. Zura hid me. My brother didn't survive." Jack looked down. "I'm sorry." Nara didn't answer. She walked to the center of the plaza where a large stone console stood. She pressed her hand to it. Blue light flowed from under her fingers. The entire city pulsed to life. Lights turned on. Old machines hummed. Doors unlocked. "This city still breathes," she whispered. Jack looked impressed. "You just brought it back from the dead." Nara turned. "And now we have shelter." Before he could answer, they both heard it. Boom. Dust shook from the ceiling. Jack cursed. "They found us." Another explosion rocked the tunnel they had come from. Zura growled. "We can't let them take this place," Nara said. "This is all that's left of my people." Jack nodded. "Then we make our stand." She hesitated. "There's one more thing." She ran to a side chamber and returned holding a strange rod with a glowing core. "This is a control key," she said. "It can wake the Guardians." Jack blinked. "Guardians?" Before she could answer, the lights above them flickered. A voice echoed through the halls in a language Jack didn't understand. Nara smiled. "They're waking up." Suddenly, from hidden walls around the plaza, large stone-like machines stepped out. Each was 10 feet tall, shaped like ancient knights. Their eyes glowed blue. Their arms were weapons. Jack stepped back. "Now that's more like it." But before they could celebrate, a final blast blew open the entrance to the city. Alien soldiers stormed in, blasters ready, screaming in rage. And for the first time, they saw something that made them stop. A human. A girl glowing with power. A beast. And machines that should have been long dead. Jack raised his rifle. Nara raised the control key. And behind them, the Guardian stood ready to fight. The first shot hit the wall inches from Jack's face. Stone cracked. Sparks flew. But Jack didn't flinch. He pulled Nara behind a pillar, his hand already grabbing the rifle at his side. "You awake the Guardians," he said. "I'll buy us some time." Nara's hands trembled, but her eyes were full of fire. She held the control rod tight and ran toward the ancient console. Behind her, the city of stone and light shuddered as alien soldiers stormed through the blasted entrance. They didn't come to talk, they came to kill. Zura let out a thunderous roar and charged, his armored body crashing into the first wave like a storm beast. Soldiers screamed, some crushed, others thrown aside like toys. One of the aliens shouted, "He's just one human, take him." Jack smiled grimly. "Try me." He opened fire. Bright blue shots lit the air, slamming into enemies with deadly aim. Jack moved like a ghost, fast, calm, deadly. His boots slid across old stone, his shoulders slammed into walls, and his rifle never stopped firing. Then boom! One of the Guardians came to life. Its heavy foot crushed the ground as it stepped forward, eyes glowing deep blue. The alien soldiers froze. What is that? Too late. The Guardian raised one arm and a beam of energy blasted a whole group of them back into the wall. Nara cried out from the console. I woke 3 more. Doors opened all across the plaza. More stone Guardians stepped out, silent protectors rising from sleep after 1,000 years. The aliens began to panic. Fall back. This isn't a city, this is a death trap. Jack shouted, don't let them escape. The Guardians moved like giants, their weapons humming with light. Zura tore through the remaining soldiers with claws and fury. Nara ran to Jack's side, breathing hard. There are too many more coming. That wasn't the whole army. Jack looked at the far wall. A faded map flickered into view. Tunnels hidden. Escape routes. One led deep into the mountains. There, he pointed. That's our way out. She nodded. We need the key to open it. Then she paused. But I can't go unless I activate the last lock. The city will fall into sleep again and be safe. Jack hesitated. If you do that, we won't have the Guardians with us. I know. He looked at her. She was shaken, tired, burned, hunted. And still, she stood strong. You're braver than most soldiers I've met, Jack said. She smiled faintly. I learned from watching you. The two ran across the battlefield, ducking behind ruins, dodging fire, Zura guarding their backs. Nara reached the heart console and slammed the rod into place. A deep rumble filled the air. The city lights flickered, then dimmed. The Guardians stopped mid-step, statues once again. The aliens who were left now rushed into the entrance tunnel, but before they could retreat, the city's defense shut the gate. Boom! A stone wall sealed the city forever. They're trapped, Jack muttered. That buys us time. Nara grabbed his hand. Come on, let's run. They followed the narrow tunnel shown on the map. Water dripped from the ceiling. Roots covered the walls. It felt like walking through the throat of a forgotten beast. After what felt like hours, they reached a narrow exit, a hole in a rocky hill far from the city. Night had fallen outside. Stars shined above like silent watchers. Nara collapsed on the ground, breathing heavily. We made it, she whispered. Jack sat beside her, watching the stars. Yeah, but the war's not over. She looked up at him. Why did you come back for me? Jack didn't speak for a moment. Then he said softly, because you reminded me of someone I failed to save. This time, I didn't want to fail. Zura curled beside them, covering them from the cold wind. And in that quiet, with the stars above and the fire behind them, Nara finally allowed herself to sleep safe for the first time in years. She was falling again. In her dream, Nara stood in the middle of a burning village. Ash rained from the sky like snow. Her mother screamed her name. Her father held a sword. And the ground shook with war drums. Then silence. She turned and saw Zura, younger, smaller, licking her cheek. Beside him stood a man, not human, but wearing a jacket just like Jack's. Don't forget who you are, he whispered. You are the key. Then everything turned to fire. Nara woke up with a gasp, her body stiff from the cold ground. It was still night. Zura was snoring nearby. And Jack? He sat a few meters away, staring up at the stars like they held answers. She crawled over, wrapping herself in a blanket made from Jack's old jacket. He didn't turn. Bad dream? He asked. Quietly, Nara nodded. A memory, maybe both. Jack finally looked at her. What did you see? My family, she whispered. The last day I saw them, Jack didn't say anything. He just handed her a warm protein bar. She took it with a small smile. They sat in silence for a moment before Nara pointed to the horizon. There's something out there, buried beneath the cliffs. My mother once told me that our people hid a living core, a secret power that only bloodline keepers can find. Jack raised an eyebrow. Secret power, huh? Sounds useful. Nara stood slowly. If we find it, maybe we can stop running. Maybe we can fight, Jack nodded. Then let's go treasure hunting. They hiked through red stone cliffs as the morning sun rose behind them. Birds with glass wings flew overhead, and strange animal tracks marked the ground. It was quiet but not peaceful. Something watched them. Always watching, Zura walked ahead like he knew the path already. Nara suddenly stopped at a crack in the cliff wall. Here, she said. It's under us. Jack looked around. I don't see anything. Nara pressed her palm to the stone. Nothing happened. She cut her thumb with Jack's small blade and pressed again. Click. The stone wall groaned, then slid open like a secret door. A gust of warm air rushed out. Jack coughed. Smells like ancient socks. Nara giggled, and it was the first time her laugh didn't sound afraid. They stepped inside. The tunnel led them into a glowing cave. Blue crystals lit the walls. Pools of silver water reflected the light. And in the center of the cave, a floating sphere made of metal and light, spinning slowly. Jack blinked. What in the galaxy is that? Nara stepped closer. The sphere reacted, glowing brighter. Symbols floated in the air. This is the core of Kirel, she said softly. It holds the memory of my people, their stories, their power, and their voice. She placed her hand on the floating sphere. Suddenly light filled the cave. Images danced in the air. Ancient cities. Armies marching, families laughing, children playing. Then, war. Fire. Screams. Chains. And one final message. To the blood of the last keeper, we leave everything. Nara fell to her knees. Tears ran down her cheeks. They saved it for me, all of it. Jack helped her stand. So, what can this core do? She wiped her eyes. It can awaken the city completely. Give it weapons, shields, life. But I need time to connect with it. Jack looked toward the entrance. Then we make sure no one interrupts. Zura suddenly growled, ears up. Jack's heart sank. Too late. Voices echoed from above. The aliens had tracked them. Again. Nara turned to Jack. If they get the core, they'll destroy everything. Not just my people's past, but the last hope I have. Jack raised his weapon, stepping between her and the tunnel. Then they'll have to go through me. The first warning was silence, not the peaceful kind, the heavy, sharp kind. Like the air itself was holding its breath. Jack stood at the narrow tunnel entrance, rifle in hand, eyes locked on the darkness beyond. His muscles were tight. Zura crouched low beside him, growling so quietly it felt like thunder trapped in his throat. Behind them, deep inside the glowing cave, Nara sat cross-legged before the floating core. Her hands rested gently on its light. Symbols flowed across her arms like tattoos made of stars. She was no longer just a scared girl. She looked like a queen waking from deep sleep. Jack whispered, "How long do you need?" Nara's voice was calm but firm. "As long as you can give me." He didn't answer with words. He simply stepped into the shadows. The first alien scout entered quietly, his boots careful, his weapon ready. He never saw Jack coming. A sharp strike to the throat. Then the rifle's butt to the head. The body hit the floor without a sound. But the second alien saw the flash. He screamed. and the tunnel filled with war. They came like a wave shouting, firing, boots stomping. Smoke and sparks filled the stone hallway. Jack moved fast. 1 shot, 2 shots, reload, duck, move again. Zura leapt from the wall, his roar shaking dust from the ceiling. He crushed 1 alien with his weight, knocked another into the wall, then spun and bit down hard on a third. But there were too many. Jack shouted, "Fall back, Zura, now!" They pulled back toward the main chamber, where the core still floated and Nara still sat, glowing brighter than ever. She's still inside. Jack muttered. "Come on, Nara, hurry." A plasma bolt grazed his shoulder. He hissed in pain, but didn't fall. Instead, he activated an old alien turret left in the corner of the chamber, one of the things Nara's people had once used for defense. It roared to life. The hallway became a storm of light and fire. Meanwhile, inside the core's glow, Nara's mind drifted through memories that weren't her own. She saw her father's final message, her mother's last smile, the warriors who gave their lives to hide the core. And then she saw Jack, not just his face, but his pain. She saw a memory buried deep, Jack holding a dying girl, human, his little sister, crying in the rain, powerless. Nara's heart ached. "He saves others because he couldn't save her," she whispered. The core responded. It pulsed. "Would you protect him?" The core asked in her mind. "Yes," she whispered. "Then take the key." It replied. A symbol appeared before her, glowing, waiting. Back in the cave, the aliens had forced their way in. Jack was out of ammo. Zura was bleeding. They were surrounded. The alien leader stepped forward, tall and grinning. "So, the brave human dies in a hole." Jack threw his empty rifle to the ground. "I've died in worse places." The alien raised his gun, but before he could fire, the light exploded. Nara stood now, her feet lifted slightly off the ground. Her eyes glowed like twin stars. In her hand, the core key. She raised it, and the entire cave came alive. Walls shifted. Stone doors locked. Energy shields roared up. And behind her, massive crystal cannons slid from the ceiling. The alien leader shouted, "Fall back!" FALL. Too late. The first cannon fired. Blinding light, dust, screams. Jack pulled Nara into his arms as explosions tore through the enemy ranks. When the dust settled, the aliens were gone. The entrance was sealed. Zura limped over and rested. Beside them, Nara dropped the key, breathing hard. "I connected with the core. It listens to me now." Jack looked at her, eyes wide. "You just saved us." She leaned into him. "No, we saved each other." He held her tightly. "Let's make sure they never come back." She nodded. "It's time to rebuild. Time to rise again." The air was calm now. The war was over. The silence felt strange, like the world was holding its breath after a storm. Jack sat beside Nara in the glowing cave. The core pulsed softly, its light filling the room with warmth. Zura lay close by, eyes half closed, resting after the fight. Nara looked different. No longer scared or weak, she stood tall, strong, like a true leader. Her silver skin shone in the core's light. Her eyes sparkled with hope. Jack smiled. "You did it." She smiled back. "We did it. Together." Jack looked around the hidden city. Slowly, lights began turning on in the distant buildings. Machines hummed awake. Water flowed again through the crystal channels. The city was coming alive. Nara stepped to the center of the cave. She raised her hand. The core responded with a bright flash. Ancient songs filled the air, songs of her people's history and dreams. "We will rebuild," she said softly. "We will remember. We will rise again." Jack looked at her with new respect. "You don't have to do this alone." She reached out and took his hand. "I don't want to." Outside, the stars shined bright. The night sky was clear and full of promise. Jack whispered, "You saved me as much as I saved you." Nara's eyes glistened. Then we owe it to each other to keep fighting. For this city, for our people, for the future. Zura lifted his head and gave a low, happy growl. Jack laughed softly. Looks like we have a guardian for this new home. Nara leaned into him. A new beginning. They sat quietly, the weight of the past lifting, replaced by hope. And in that moment, under the shining stars, a human and an alien girl, once strangers, now partners, found something stronger than fear or war. They found family.